pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. The approval of the Board of Education meeting minutes.
So moved. Any corrections?
I had one, January 6th. You have me as board president, and then I wasn't there for the coming out of executive session. I don't believe I was there that evening.
January 6th.
It was an early evening, 5:30.
Oh. Yep,
You are correct.
so,
So motion to correct.
yep, you just correct the minutes. Mr. French should be shown under board absent.
As absent for the January 6th. Is that correct? Thank you. Any other corrections? I'm sorry?
Ready to vote?
No, I lost it. Can we vote on them all together?
Yeah, unless somebody wants to pull one.
Did you have a
out.
second?
No,
I'll
I'm-
I'll second it for the record.
Thank you. Has anyone signed for public comment?
Wait a minute, we have to.
You have a
vote.
motion and a
Wait
second. You have
I'm
to vote.
sorry. So we
in
agreed
favor.
to put all those together, the January 6th, January 13, and January 29th,
Yes.
correct?
Yeah,
And we have a motion
yep.
and a second. Mr. Flores? Ready?
Well,
I think we're ready to vote.
Voice vote? All those in favor?
Well, we're going to do it.
That's unanimous? Thank you. Jack? No one sign up? Thank you. So we'll move right along. Reports, superintendent's report?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Several reports for this evening, and I want to thank the members of the committee that are here tonight with us. The first is our professional development, and February the 12th, Friday. Here is our brochure of the professional development that will be taking place. If you could just pass it around. As you know, that the entire school district will be participating in a professional development day on the 12th, and the topic is achieving coherence, deepening our learning. And we'll have, the major focus will be on math instruction, K through 12. The elementary staff will be focusing on content area in math. High school and middle school will be focusing on close reading in all the different areas. So I want you to take a look at that. And if you have any opportunity on the 12th to stop by, the majority of the presentation will be at the high school. At the high school, please stop by. One thing that I want to point out, the workshops that will be taking place on the 12th are aligned to the curriculum map that the teachers will be teaching during the month of March and April. So it is a very focused and targeted professional development that will support teachers as they move along in instruction. Teacher recruitment. In your packet, in the retreat packet, I gave you an article regarding teacher recruitment. Today, there was an article that came out in one of the magazines about teacher recruitment in the country, what other states are doing, like Washington State, Oregon, and others. As you know, we have a shortage of teachers, particularly in special ed, math, and bilingual. So we're following the recommendation from our committee. I don't remember last year we have a teacher minority committee. We have a plan and some recommendation. we will be looking at recruiting teachers in the state of Connecticut, outside the state of Connecticut, and also outside of the country. So we're looking at Puerto Rico, where some other states are going, and we're partnering with some other states and having conversation with them. So we don't have a definite date, but we are having the conversation of where to go. We wanted to go to Texas, but then we saw that Texas has a shortage of teachers. So it's no sense to go to Texas if they are recruiting from outside also. So any place that we can get teachers, we will.
What about New Mexico and Arizona,
Well,
Southern California?
we will go to they have teachers too.
I mean, I know Southern California has a shortage, particularly
California has a
the same
shortage of
shortages that we do.
Exactly.
However, does our salary meet up with California's? If we can offer them more money to relocate out here yearly, Connecticut tends to have higher salaries than other states.
Yeah.
We tend to be, more able to pay
Yeah.
our employees, not necessarily our teachers, but I understand Windham is low compared to the rest of the state.
Texas
But I wonder
pay-
how we meet up to California, Texas,
I don't know exactly.
Arizona, Nevada,
Texas pay very well.
New Mexico.
Texas pay very well. Houston, and they went to Houston and Dallas pay very, very well. And in conversation, I heard that some of them, in conversation with the different school district, Texas is very appealing to them because of the weather. So it's appealing to them.
Yeah, the problem that you encounter
Need a mic,
recruiting from people from Puerto Rico is that they have to come here. Even they are senior teachers there, but they have to go to their certification here. The certification that they have there is not valid here.
Yes.
So they have to go through the whole procedure. Also, they have to take that huge test.
Yes.
And they're so afraid of that test also.
Yeah.
So that's a big problem.
So
that
one
we
of the
have.
things we are doing is that we are in partnership with an organization in Puerto Rico that recruits teachers and doctors and nurses for other states, and talking to them about the possibility of them helping. We are in contact with the University of Puerto Rico, helping the teachers there to be familiar with the test before they come here. So what can they do for those people that are interested in applying before they get here to the States, to Connecticut, per se? So the conversation is taking place. We don't have anything definitely on paper yet, but lots of conversation with them, and also following what other states are doing, and talking with the people at the University of Puerto Rico. And by the way, we have to do something differently in what we're doing to recruit teachers. We do have a process here. We do go to job fairs, Eastern, Southern Connecticut, Central Connecticut. We do advertise. We use Teach for America. So we do all of those things that we will continue to do, but we have to come up with some new strategies that are outside of the box. This year has been a very difficult year for us to recruit teachers.
So Mr. Montalvo is correct, I think.
Yeah.
Puerto Rico has some unfortunate economic problems currently that make moving to the states for employment attractive. Connecticut has barriers for teachers that other states don't have. We're working with our legislators to try and make the process more equitable, so that, because we're competing with other states for the same teachers, and to the extent that other states are willing to certify those teachers more easily than they can be certified in Connecticut, we can lose people simply because of the bureaucracy that's in place currently. So we have brought this to the attention of our legislators, and I hope some efforts will be made to, particularly in the case of experienced teachers.
The list is getting longer and longer of states that are recruiting teachers from outside. I said to you years ago when I was superintendent of Virginia, I recruited from the Philippines and from Romania. And that was years ago, and we had difficulty getting math teachers recruited from the Philippines, Venezuela, and Romania. And so the list is getting longer and longer. Every week that I read an article from one of our magazine, Superintendent's Magazine from across the country, there is another state that is added to the list of recruiting teachers from some parts. Today was the state of Washington that's going some other country to recruit teachers. So either shortage in the entire country, not only in this part of the country, but anywhere you go, there's a shortage of teachers. Okay, so we will keep you posted on what we plan to do, but we plan to look at we are taking steps to follow the recommendations that are in the recruitment plan, and one of those recommendations was to look outside also. The Bureau's operating plan, And this is just for clarification. There have been, I believe, 2 articles in the Chronicle, editorial letter 1 and 1/22 and 2/22, regarding the Barrows operating plan, and this is just for clarification purposes. I think there's a confusion regarding the preference given to employees in the district, staff in the district. The Barrows operating plan has always had staff preference, only for Barrows. Only for Barrows. Let me repeat that very clearly. The Barrows operating plan has always had staff preference only for Barrows. What this board has done is to clarify that and expand that preference to staff member of the entire Windham Public School. For example, if you were a teacher at North Windham School, Windham Center, or Natchog, your child will not have staff preference at Barrows. Only the teachers at Barrows or the staff at Barrows. What this board has done with the modification to the policy is to extend that staff preference to staff members of the entire district, meaning a teacher from North Windham her child or his child could attend Barrows. So that's for point of clarification. Those 2 additional seats has always been there at the Barrows operating plan since the first day that Barrows opened.
No, not exactly.
Okay.
No, that's not true.
We added that policy, about halfway through the first year?
Okay, so it was added during the first year. So during the first year, Barrows implemented that, and this is just as clarification. So the board believe that this is a policy that's more equitable and really provide opportunities to all staff members, not only staff members at Barrows School. If we have a problem of retention of teachers, we want to retain the teachers at Barrows, but we also want to retain the teachers at Natchog, at Windham Center, at North Windham, at the high school, at the middle school. So those are the point of clarification, because it seemed to me like the question was this created by this board, and it has not been created by this board. It has been in place before. Okay. The other has to do with the teacher evaluation report, and 2 things that I want to say about this report. Recently, the state released the teacher evaluation report from the 2013-2014 school year. Again, 2 years old, and it was just recently released across the state. The first year was a pilot year. Districts were given the option to participate, and not all teachers participated in the program. But I do want to address an article that came out on Monday regarding this report. That I want to address. And the report headline said, Garcia, teachers need to improve. The headline of that article and the content of that article are not aligned. The article is about the teacher evaluation system. The article came out in the Chronicle. And by the way, I did call the editor of the Chronicle and expressed to him my concern and disappointment of the headline of the article. If you read the article, the question given by the Chronicle to the school was about the teacher evaluation system. My response to the Chronicle was that is a work in progress. The teacher evaluation system is a work in progress. I don't think any superintendent in the state of Connecticut will say what a perfect evaluation system we have. Teacher evaluation system. I also said that there is room for improvement in the teacher evaluation system. I don't think any superintendent will say this is a perfect evaluation system. So I think the Chronicle has a major problem, is that the headline said teachers need to improve. It did not say teacher evaluation need to improve. And there's a big difference between teacher needs to improve and teacher evaluation needs to improve. So I want to bring that to your attention. I did call the Chronicle on that, and there was lots of apologies. But teachers need to improve is different than the teacher evaluation system need to improve. So I want to bring that to your attention. I was very disappointed of that headline. I think it's uncalled for, and for the Chronicle not to understand the difference between teachers need to improve and teacher evaluation system need to improve is very disappointing.
Dr. Garcia, may I ask a question? I know that you're not responsible for what is printed in the Chronicle, but when the the table was printed, it said how many were proficient, exemplary, going up. There were 3 teachers from different elementary schools who have contacted me and said they were rated as exemplary in the year that was reported, and there was either a no or a 1, and they knew of other teachers who were rated as exemplary. Is there any way to account for that
Okay, so this is.
disparity?
Okay.
They wanted me to address it, and
Yeah.
I tried to give you a phone call, and I didn't reach you, so
Yeah.
I figured I'd bring it
So
up
let me,
tonight.
let me look into it. The way how this is done is that those numbers come from the state.
Right,
The
I understand
state
that.
take those numbers directly from the Bloomberg system. So we don't give those numbers to the state. The state goes into Bloomberg, and they take that information from Bloomberg. But I can look into it.
And there's one from the high school, too, at
And
least
get
one
back
from the
to
high
you.
school, where they knew that they had been acknowledged as, in their reviews as exemplary, and it showed up as a 0. And I would hate for that to be the perception out there. Students are picking their high schools now. We know that there's no disciplinary issues, well, not no, but less disciplinary issues, and that's something that the high schools worked on reducing. And now we have exemplary teachers, and it's being reported that there are
But
no
how will-
exemplary teachers.
How will they know? Because the names were not reported, those numbers.
Well, if at the high school there was at least one exemplary teacher, and in the newspaper it said there were 0, which I'm assuming was taken from
I
the
don't-
report from the state,
Let me see what they
then
said.
that's in error.
He
I
said
don't know if
here,
this might have been from the
Barrow,
previous
North
week.
Windham, Sweeney, Windham Center, Windham High School, 38 teachers were rated proficient, while none of them were rated below standard. 60, the data show that of 60.
No, there was a
High
graph, there was a
school.
table on one
Okay.
of the newspaper's articles about
I
the
didn't see it.
evaluation.
The data that the state reported.
That's the
is not
data state
reflective
reported.
Of every staff member in each building, because that was the pilot year.
Yeah, so not everyone was
Not
reported.
everyone was
Reported.
reported on that.
Well, that might be
data
something
sheet that went
on your
out.
Facebook thing or a press release or something like that, that we want to take a look at, that, you know, not all of them were reported, but at the high school, we had 5 exemplary teachers. At
Yeah.
Natchog, we had 6. At Sweeney, we had 10. I don't know, I'm just pulling numbers here, I
Yeah.
have no idea.
Yeah.
But to clarify that, so when people are looking to buy a house, and they look and they see in the newspaper article, when they Google it, that Sweeney had 0 exemplary teachers, when in reality, we have 10 exemplary teachers.
Yeah.
Or they may not buy a house, they may not look to move into a neighborhood because they're looking at that school statistic.
I hope people got a chance to read the current article, which the Chronicle republished a week or two ago,
Right.
because the current article makes it clear that that particular evaluation system is a fiasco.
Right.
And nobody should take it seriously, including us.
I don't doubt that, but if they're Googling the local paper and what it said about, exemplary teachers, then that's what they're going to see. So it might be
Well,
something we want
I
to.
understand that the table was printed in the paper, and I don't know whether the table misprinted the state's result, or the state misreported
Yeah.
the results that they
Or
had.
just took a sampling
Yeah,
or something like that. It's not
Both are
fair.
possible, but the numbers are pretty much irrelevant, because the system itself is a fiasco.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm thankful that they didn't report that anybody was, below standard, all over the state, apparently, which suggests that there's something out of whack somewhere. And I
I'm
think
talking
it's.
more
I think-
about perception of the facts that have been presented
Well,
than the fallacy of the actual reporting
I-
system.
Yes. The reason those tables got published at all was because of the suit that the Coalition for Justice and Educational Funding has with the state.
Yeah.
And maybe it's unfortunate that those numbers got published, because some people may look at them and form an impression that's actually an ill-informed impression of any school district in the state, no matter what the impression is. And I would hope that we would do better by our teachers in coming up with an evaluation system that more truly reflects the work that they're actually doing than whatever the state is working on. I am not confident that whatever the state has done since 2013-14 is any better.
No, I don't disagree with that. The perception was, and teachers contacted me, and like I said, I tried to call and see if you had better numbers or something like that, but I wasn't able to reach you. And so I just wanted, something to take a look at is, do we have, more exemplary teachers than what we were able to find reported in the newspaper?
So a couple things. This was a pilot year, as we said before, and it was the beginning of the process. So for example, Windham Middle School, according to the newspaper and to the state, had 23 teachers that were exemplary. Barrows had 22 that were exemplary. Sweeney had 15 that were exemplary. The high school, they didn't say anything about the high school or Windham Center. Center, 14%, yeah. So they did report some exemplary teachers. Again, we could check with the state, but these are not numbers that we directly gave the newspaper. And this, again, as Dr. Sewell said, this is the first year, 13, 14. Since that, something has been done, but I would say not major changes in the teacher evaluation system.
Thank you for hearing
Okay,
me out.
so I just want to point out clarification that teachers need to improve and teacher evaluation system need to improve are two different things.
Yeah.
Two
In
different
fairness- In fairness to the reporter, the writers for the Chronicle do not write the headlines. Editors write the headlines after they've turned in their copy. So it is not without precedent that the headline and the copy don't have a whole lot to do with one another.
In fairness to the reporter, I think the article is a very valid article and reflect what I said. In fairness to the reporter, I think the article is very objective. I think whoever wrote the headline, that's why I call the editor, really had a problem aligning the article to what he had in his mind. And very disappointing, all I can say. But I thank the reporter for the article. I think the reporter wrote a very valid article.
Is any way possible that you can send a memo to the different school explaining that position? Because some teachers read that and they were very upset about it.
Well,
I mean, I know that was, it was not your intention, it was not true what they said, but it would be good for you to clarify to a different school what
Well,
the mistake was.
let me think about that, because if I'm reading this, I'm a teacher.
Yeah.
If I can read this,
Yeah.
right away I can say, this is a problem here. This doesn't match this. So like 2 + 2 is not 5, okay? So I will hope that the teachers of this school district, 2 + 2 is not 5, that the teachers could read this and right away said, oh my goodness, one word make a difference in context, okay? This article is about teacher evaluation. And what the headline is talking is something totally different.
I understand.
It's like the article is about, let's go to Puerto Rico on a vacation.
Yeah.
And the headline would say, oh, tomorrow is Sunday. It does not match. So I will hope, I don't know if I have to apologize, if somebody had to
I didn't
apologize.
say apologize, I said to clarify.
Okay.
It's a big difference between apologize and clarify.
Well, I will mention it to the teacher, but I think the
Okay.
teachers could see this. I mean,
Yeah.
I will hope that a teacher could look at this. If anyone should clarify, should be the editor of the Chronicle.
Yeah.
That made this huge mistake.
Because I tell you what, it's a lot of teachers that do not get the Chronicle because they don't live here. So they have some other teacher that call them. You heard what they say in the Chronicle.
But
And-
what the
And I
Chronicle,
spread like fire.
What the Chronicle said, that the teacher evaluation system is a work in progress. That's what the article said.
You understand that? You explained that very
Yeah.
clear.
Clearly,
Very clear, you explained that.
we're
but-
talking more
Yeah.
PR kind of
Yeah.
I will do
approach
something,
as
definitely will do
opposed to-
something.
Yeah.
I will do something,
I mean, to
Well,
clear the air,
yeah.
because,
yeah.
It's
And I'm
already
hoping that they
there.
will read the article, because if they read the article, they will notice that there's something wrong.
yeah, but like I said, a lot of them don't live in town,
They-
just only a few.
The Chronicle's major impact is word of mouth. If you look at their circulation, it's quite small. But a lot of people who do get the Chronicle talk to other people, and that's where the problem comes, is that they won't read the article, they'll only hear what someone told them.
Precisely.
And so I think Mr. Montalvo is correct that
Yeah.
essentially a short email to the staff saying what you said here tonight
Exactly,
would be a
that's how I
reasonable
said.
thing to do.
Okay, we can get it out tomorrow, that's easy. Get it first thing in the morning. Nevertheless, you can see, Mr. Montalvo, that I'm very disappointed, I'm very
But you should be.
very disappointed,
Definitely
and
you
very,
should be.
I want to use the word mad that this took place. And more
I don't
than,
blame you for either.
and more than anything, we spend a lot of time with the Chronicle. When the Chronicle call and have a request, we spend time with them, giving them the information, being honest and transparent with them. This is not what I expect of the Chronicle. Because we do, my staff spend time trying to support the Chronicle. We give them lots of information. They're a local newspaper. We want to have a very good relationship with them. We reach out to them all the time. And so we don't expect this kind of response. But we will take care of it tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm telling you because I don't get the Chronicle, but I do get a couple call stating that you said that. I say, wow. So,
So read the article. You
Okay.
can see.
like I said, I don't get the Chronicle.
Okay.
Let's
So we
move
can
move
on,
on.
yes.
Some good news. Four school districts in the state were selected to have an ELA pilot program. New Haven, Bridgeport, Hartford, and Windham. Windham was selected because we have the highest percentage of ELL students in the state. And so we have, we were selected to develop a newcomers programs, and we will be developing a comprehensive newcomers program for at least 50 students, middle to high school, for next year.
What was the funding on that? Was there a dollar amount? There's no dollar
Yeah,
amount?
we're looking, they have not given us the total dollar amount,
Okay.
but we look, because they went to divide the money between the 4 states, sorry, the four.
Four districts.
The 4 district, it will be between 190 to maybe 200,000. But we're not getting that exact amount because some will go to the university, that's our partner, some will go to the rest. And some other good news, and this is really some good news, on Thursday, last Thursday, on the 28th, the Windham Echo students officially received their ID card, so they are official students of the Windham Community College. It was well attended by Dr. Drummer. She personally gave each student their ID, and our reps, Susan Johnson, the mayor, was here, and other officials from town. So this is very good news, well attended by parents, very excited about the opportunity that their students have to go to college. So to let you know that officially, our students in the Windham Echo are students of the Quinnipiac Community College.
How many students we're talking about?
We have 38 so far this year. We're looking to have 50 new ones coming next year. So
this
far,
is-
we have 28 to 30 enrolled for next year.
This is a program that we'll be able to expand as we get more students who prepare for it in the middle school and come to the high school ready to
Yeah.
participate in this program. And moving algebra back into the 8th grade is
Algebra
one
into
of
the
the
8th
things that
grade.
will make it easier for middle schools. But students who are really interested in this program should start thinking about taking the courses that they need to prepare for it while they're still in middle school.
Let me give you a little more information. We have 2 pathways in this program. One is logistic change management, and the other one is manufacturing principles. The logistic change management, those are students that when we prepare more for the management of logistic and moving things from one place to the other, one part of the country. The other manufacturing principle are the students that will be designing the parts for the different, for example, the part for the different submarine, those are an example. The program is very intense. Students not only learn about manufacturing and supply, they learn also soft skills. Right now in 9th grade, those students are learning leadership, marketing, decision-making, communication, etc. Starting next year, they will be taking microeconomics, design and blueprint. Is a very, very comprehensive program. In addition, they're taking algebra, calculus, trig. So it's a very, to be in the program, you have to be very, very committed. In addition to that, each one of the students have a mentor. The majority of mentors come from Electric Boat that were here with us on the 26th. And the mentor of Electric Boat will guide the students through the entire process of the program. And that night, if Electric Boat said if these students were graduating tonight, each one of them will have a job the next day with Electric Boat. As you know, there's a demand in this part of Connecticut, in this area, and we are only one of the 4 schools in Connecticut that has this program. So it's a very, so far, a very successful program. The teachers in the program are very committed, and the parents are committed, and we have a lot of people from central office working and very committed to the program.
Dr. Garcia, what classes, Dr. Sewell was speaking of classes, the middle school that students could take that would feed into that? Other than Algebra 1, which I know we're offering now at Barrows and the middle school, what other classes are being offered at the middle school or Barrows level that would enable them to take
Well,
that?
algebra would be the beginning course for that. Definitely algebra. We don't have any other course at the middle school tailored for that, but definitely algebra. That's the gate, to open the gate for this program.
Okay.
But the other basic academic courses, the English,
We'll have to take those.
social sciences, the things that ordinarily you would take in middle school,
Yeah.
you want to focus on doing well because you don't want to be taking remedial
Right,
English.
oh, yeah. Well,
that they would
I think we
compete
expect
with.
all of our children to try and do their best and excel. But,
Yeah.
Mr. French?
Thank you.
I don't know if they saw that you had your hand up.
No,
I'm
no,
sorry.
that's okay. That's all right. No problem. I personally think it's a great program that it needs to be created towards a magnet. Now, if we're actually talking very small here tonight, because we're talking about our middle school. What we should be doing is going to Coventry, Columbia, all the other surrounding schools and sell this program. We need this to be a feeder to the magnet school of Windham High, and it's going to start to grow our population. So somehow we need to, Dr. Garcia with a group, start visiting other middle schools to get these students excited about this program. And then I think this is a gangbuster program.
So, Mr. French, let me remind you that last year, you were a board member that we had the discussion. You gave a lot of great ideas of how to put this in place, and I believe there were a preliminary conversation with some other school district around the area. You started this last year, so thank you very much. We have developed a very, I would say, user-friendly letter to send to some other towns around us. The letter is on my desk. We'll try to get out the letter this week, invited them to come and see the program at the high school, and also asking them to give us the opportunity to go to their school district and present this program. So we will be sending a letter. Now, keep in mind that if that's the case, then the board would have to make a decision of, because the high school is not a regional high school yet, so the board will have to come up with some type of policy where these kids can attend. But there have been questions from members of this community and from members of other communities, can our students attend? The majority of the kids that we have enrolled now for this coming year, for September, are coming from Barrows. Of the 28 kids that we have, the majority of them are coming from Barrows.
Okay, thank you.
And Carrie, we need to send out the letter of acceptance. They're already asking for the letter of acceptance, so we're going to send it out.
Reviewed it at the meeting yesterday.
Yeah.
When does the application process close for ECHO?
We have it
We're
open.
opening to
Yeah.
50 students. Right now, we don't have 50 applicants, so we'll
Yeah.
keep it open if students want to.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What do you think is the resistance in our middle school?
I will not say the resistance. I do think that we need to explain it better. I think last year at this particular time, we had 0 students enrolled. This year, we have 30 so far, and I think it's as the program get to be known more. So we need to do some more marketing at the middle
We're
school.
going into all the advisory
Advisory,
classes
yeah.
next week, so hopefully that'll encourage students. We did presentations there, but it was to the larger cities, so
Yeah.
maybe these smaller meetings will.
And as Mr. French said, definitely we want to be a little more aggressive in talking to the other towns and see.
You've got a great tool. Let's sell it.
And maybe you can help us if you have any friends that are selectmen or board members.
I'm still working on it.
Okay. I said that for a reason.
Mr. Kaligian?
I think a really important point is, while this program is mentored through Electric Boat, which is the manufacturing processes to build submarines, nuclear submarines, is complex and huge, all of the skill sets that they learn in this process is very transferable to every other heavy industry, every other large manufacturing process. Logistics is not about ordering toilet paper. It's about the organization of what parts are needed when in the process of building the submarine. So these are very important skill sets and experiences they're going to learn, and maybe part of our marketing program explains that these are transferable into all other areas of the heavy industry.
So, Mr. Kalajian, do you know that there is a bachelor degree in logistics, there is a master degree in logistics, and there is a PhD in logistics? And the Army, for example, the Armed Forces uses logistics a lot. So they are engineers in logistics, how things move from one part to the other. Dell, I was reading about the Dell computer company. They have a lot of logistics engineer, because moving computer from one part of the country to another state, to another country, require a whole department of logistics. They do all the blueprint, how things are going to move, when is going to move, et cetera, et cetera. So they're very, if you look at the newspaper in Washington, D.C., they're always looking for a logistics engineer, very, very high paid.
And that they're trained by Electric Boat is quite a leg up for those
Yeah,
kids.
and the other important thing of this program that is just amazing, it's fascinating, we have 9th graders learning how to work as a team, how to lead a team, how to make decision as a team, how to market their product. It's just very, very amazing.
I do think that this program is so a wonderful program, especially for those kids that they are very bright,
Right.
but they don't want to go to college, or the parents don't have the money to send them to college. And this is an avenue that they
Yeah.
should take to succeed in the future.
Well, you remember, this program does lead to an associate's
An
degree.
associate's degree.
So college will be competing with electric boat for these students because they should end up with 2 years of real transferable credits. And not only to UConn, but to virtually any public university in the country.
Yeah, but if they graduate from this program, they don't have to go to college. Electric boat will give them a job right there because they graduated, which is fantastic.
That's true, that's one path, but the other path is to get your bachelor's degree. As Dr. Garcia pointed out, there are bachelor's degrees in this field that lead to management positions
Yes.
that are even more attractive.
Well, these
But
guys-
but instead of paying $120,000 to go to UConn, students in 2020, when these students will graduate from high school, or 2019, instead of paying $120,000, students can go finish UConn for $60,000. So there's a substantial financial savings possible.
Does your figure include the 7% for the next 4 years to go to UConn?
No, it includes, that's where I got that number. UConn's already said what they're going to
Posted that
raise the
number?
tuition for the,
7%
So if you compound that up, for students at least for students that enter in fall of 16, they're going to be talking about fall of 20 for college, and UConn for in-state tuition fees, room and board and fees, is going to be $30,000 a year. Yes, yeah, that's a mind-boggling number, but that's what it is
Well
projected at this
affordable,
point.
right?
So if we can graduate students that can pay for 2 years instead of paying for 4 years, that's saving their family $60,000.
And our experience in this program as a district will give us a leg up on creative ways to program and develop curricula that aren't offered in other places, not just ECHO, but other things, looking out into the future at what the marketplace is asking for, and developing this kind of mentoring program with other kinds of industries, businesses, types of businesses, is a great model for a curriculum that isn't found anywhere else, potentially.
And I forgot to mention that we do have a conglomerate of industries that are part of the Eastern Connecticut Consortium that are also part of this program. So we have some local businesses, industries in the Eastern Connecticut area that are part of this program also with us. And they have sent us mentors also. I'm very excited about it, very excited. And we have two policies that were sent for first reading. One, the seclusion and physical restraint policy that has some changes that just came out, legislative changes. And also for first reading, the revised policy on medication that also have some changes is in your packet. And I have Mrs. Leon Parker here with me tonight. Both of these policies came from her department. And those, if you have any question, Mr. Alvarez had a meeting last Thursday, chair a meeting last Thursday. Was last Thursday your meeting?
No, a couple, the
Last
week
Thur-
before.
Oh, the
2
week
weeks
before, I'm
ago.
sorry, where he discussed both of these policies in committee. And Mrs. Geraldine Beguero was my representative on this meeting. So the policies are in your packet. Mr. Flores is here, Mrs. Parker, and myself, if you have any questions.
Are these revised or new? Because on the top of them, they both
They're
said new.
revised.
Okay.
Some of them, they revised more at like in the medication.
Okay.
They add a lot for the students to medication administration and the restraining, physical restraining.
Okay.
Because those came from the legislation.
Right.
They add up more restrictions to it, and especially the medication, there's a long list.
Okay.
that
When did we
have to
switch to,
comply.
when did we switch, you may not know this, when did we switch to Shipman and Goodwin?
We still use CAVE, but Shipman and Goodman gave us their model policy.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Yeah, if
Thank
you
you,
look at
Mr. Alvarez.
if you look at the policies, the existing policies online, you'll find that revised is substantially revised. The
Exactly.
Yes, yes.
legislature
Well,
went to
no,
work
just on the
and,
photocopy on the top and the scanned copy, it says new policy on both of them. So I was curious if
Yeah.
they were truly new policies and numbers were written in, or if they were revised
no,
policies.
we have them on file,
I
but
assumed
but
so.
they, but these are so substantially rewritten,
Yeah.
they might as well be new.
Right,
Will be a few that new that we have to complement, but
I understand.
we're working on them.
thank you.
Can I just say one
You have to come up to the microphone.
Is that okay?
Yes.
One of the major things that we had a discussion at the policy committee about was the fact that,
Be in the microphone, please.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I usually have a loud enough voice. One of the things that we discussed was the fact that in the old policy, it talks about asthma inhalers and how a student has to be in grades 6 through 12. I did find it. We were looking for it that
Great.
night.
Thank you.
That has now changed, that basically there is no grade level requirement. It becomes the decision of the parent, the physician, and the school. So that was one of the ones that I wanted to research, and that I did for you. The other thing we talked about was the paraprofessionals. Now that the legislature passed a bill that allows a parent to ask for the para working with their student.
Oh, yes.
And I was asked to get some further information, so it is not a policy yet. It hasn't been written, but I wanted to let you know that when we have a PPT, we send out a PPT notice, and at the bottom of it, it does tell the parent that they have the right to ask the paraprofessional. And then Tom Mooney writes these little mailbag questions of the week, and one of them actually dealt with the whole issue of when and how a parent can invite a paraprofessional. So I will give these to you so you have them for your reading. Okay?
At one point, if I may, at one point, we had a question about a student taking an inhaler on the bus. We had a parent come to talk during public comment. Does the policy deal with that at all?
Well, we have a release form
Yes.
right now. In
Yes.
this package, the parents
Does it
have
include,
released.
I've looked it over, but I didn't notice anything about a bus on
It
there.
has, it didn't say anything about that, but I think that's probably something we're going to have to address, and I can
Or
look at that.
add to the
I just
policy.
remember that a parent came and their child was allowed to carry it in school, but not on the bus. The bus company, whatever, said they couldn't. I don't know exactly how it came out. Dr. Garcia
But we did-
followed
we did-
up on it
yeah,
and
we
took
did- we
care of
allowed-
it.
we
But I
allowed
think
the
making it a
students.
policy, but I think making it a policy sets precedent. That way we don't have to
Yeah.
worry about that coming to us again. So that might be something we want to look
I
at.
think it was at
before we
NatChart,
approve it.
right? Was it NatChart?
I don't
it was
remember
a
where the
NatChart,
parent
yeah.
was from. I don't,
Yeah.
I'm
But this
sorry.
policy, they allow the children to carry the,
Right.
on the school as well. So
Right, let's just make sure it says and to and from school or something like that, so we don't have to worry about a parent having that issue again, if you don't mind.
That's not a problem, okay.
Anything else, Leon?
No, I just wanted, you will notice from the original policy on restraint and seclusion, this one has become very much more involved.
Yes.
Part of it is because seclusion is something new that they've added, and they've even
Yes.
gone to the specifics of what a seclusion room, the specs have to be, and Mr. Donaldson is aware of that, because we actually followed these on a couple of seclusion rooms this year. So if you have any other questions, feel free to email me or give my office a call, and I'll be more than happy to discuss it with you.
Thank you.
Okay?
And moving on to committee reports, Finance and Audit Committee.
Okay, the Finance and Audit Committee met tonight and 2 weeks ago, it seems to me. We've had a couple of public workshops on the budget, largely focusing on the public presentation materials that will go along the Board of Finance seemed happy last year with the tabular presentation and budget book that they got, that gave them the detail budget. And we'll follow that same format again this year. But we're also going to add a number of charts and tables to make it a little easier for the public to understand where the money is going, what percentage of it's being spent on educating students, what fraction's being spent on administrators, on administrative services, some issues on, we spend a lot of money on special ed, and we're trying to get numbers together that include everything that we spend on special ed, including, special ed students are special in that many of them are transported elsewhere as well as taught, and so we pay for that. So that's part of the cost of special ed. All of these materials will end up on the website. If the public wants to look at the budget book and look at the tabular numbers, they'll be there, as well as the graphics. And for those of you who haven't discovered it yet, the easy way to find the Board of Education and the school district's website is wyndhamps.org, Wyndham Public Schools, wyndhamps.org. And I think we've got a front page click for the budget.
We do, right on the front page, under the news section, there's a budget tab, and it will have all of our upcoming events.
Okay, and we'll be adding materials to it as we finish producing them and maybe even updating things as we find things that we want to edit.
Yes, it'll be updated regularly.
Okay, so we encourage people to take a look at that. So we don't have anything for the agenda tonight.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Kalajan, school planning and design?
Excuse me, I have a question about the policy.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Also, what happened with the public comment? That's supposed to.
Well,
Mr.
why don't you wait till he
Montalvo,
gives
can you
his
wait
report,
till
we'll talk about
he
it.
gets to
Oh, he
policy?
haven't done his report yet? Oh,
Correct.
Sorry.
Thank you.
All right, sorry.
Mr. Kalajan?
I was unable to attend last week's subcommittee meeting, and Dr. Sewell covered for me, so I'm going to defer to him for this report.
And in fact, I believe you were meeting with the high schools.
School governance.
Yes, I was meeting with the High School
Governance
Governance Council. I've been meeting with all the governance councils in an attempt to get their input and about our master plan and to explain to them and answer any questions they may have.
So the major point of discussion at the most recent meeting of the Planning and Design Committee was the ed spec for the high school, or the detailed, what exact, when we renovate the high school building, exactly what are we going to be doing with the renovated building? Which is what the ed spec is. What courses are going to be taught, what programs are going to be offered. The committee has asked the superintendent to develop an ed spec based on the STEAM model, rather than, this is STEM plus arts, okay? So it comes out STEAM, science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. So we'll have the ECHO program in there. We're already exploring the possibility of international baccalaureate. There'll be several other paths available to students that'll be part of that. We hope to have that particular ed spec done within a month.
Well, we on the agenda to meet with the high school the first Monday in March. That's the earliest we could get on their agenda. They have something, next Monday is, I believe, a holiday, and the following Monday, they have something planned. So we're meeting, we're on the agenda for the first Monday in March. I don't know exactly what date that is, so hopefully we can, there's some aspects that were done prior, before. So we
Yeah,
could
there was
look
an
at-
earlier ed spec that we can use as a starting point.
As a starting point.
We hope to have this available for a workshop discussion with the board at the March workshop. meeting.
March, the last workshop in March, yeah. So like I said, we're on the agenda for the first week, Monday in March.
The proposed renovation of this building will be to create a community education center that will include not only a high school, but also an early learning center, so we'll need an ed spec for the early learning center, and program specifications for moving the district offices out of the Kramer building into this building. All of that's going to get put together. The other thing that we asked the superintendent to start to work on is an ed specification for a dual language school. Location to be determined, but one possibility that we're thinking about, if we reduce the small learning communities in the middle school from 3 to 2, the building should have capacity to put a K to 12, a K to 8 dual language school into that building. So that's the potential that we're thinking of right at the moment, but that's down the road a ways. At any rate, we did ask the superintendent to start working on an ed specification for basically taking the Compañeros program, which is now scattered among buildings, and putting it into a single facility.
And this, if I might, this initiative follows very closely along with parallel lines in the master plan. Not just one building, but looking at the entire district and how it fits together.
Anything else, Dr. Garcia? No. And moving on, Policy Committee, Mr. Flores?
Well, those are the only two policies I have in the moment, the restraining.
But we did talk about, what is it, 9035, the one that.
Mr.
Yes,
Montalvo.
that's
Mr.
going
Montalvo
back
was
to the
asking?
board, to the committee to revise.
Say that again, I'm sorry?
It's going back to the board to revise again. There's all the changes, there was some confusion on it. That's why we didn't present it today. So we'll be coming the next meeting.
It turns out there are two policies that talk about,
And they interfere with each other,
and so we're going to reduce those two to
Into
one.
one?
into one, yeah.
And then there was more than just a little bit of editing to the one.
And what seems to be the problem, having both, they're
They're-
completely
no.
Because
different?
both complete each other.
Correct.
Well, the other policy, there is a type of meeting that we haven't held since I've been on the board, and maybe somebody who was on the board for a longer time, like Mrs. Haney could tell us, but there's 11, I can't remember, it's 11 something, but it contemplates a special board meeting held almost as a public meeting on a particular topic, where there'd be a back and forth between public comment and board decision-making. Yeah,
Never done that.
like a public hearing. Okay? Well, most elected boards have, and even appointed boards, have the possibility of public hearings. I don't think the need for a public hearing hasn't occurred since you and I have been on the board, and you and I have been on the board longer than anyone else currently on the board. I don't know whether one occurred, previous to that, but we have a policy that covers it just in case we ever want to have a public hearing.
I don't think that's inappropriate to keep a policy as long as it's been
Well,
cleaned
yeah,
up.
we're going to
have that.
integrate it into the other policy,
Yeah.
rather than having it off sort of by itself somewhere. And there were some questions, and there were some questions about how long the members of the public got to speak and what they got to speak about. So
A little bit of inconsistency in that
Yeah,
area also.
the rewrite that we've asked for would include the kind of public comment that we have at business meetings, an open public comment at the beginning of business meetings, and then at the end of meetings, a public comment opportunity limited to discussing what happened during the meeting. And since we have business meetings and workshop meetings, so you have, and then the possibility of a public hearing, the rewrite is more than just changing a few lines here and there. So I hope that we got a meeting again at the end of this month, and
And we're going to discuss it.
get that done.
I'd really like to commend you though on getting so many policies passed so quickly. It's refreshing. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Mr. Montalvo, you're welcome to attend the Policy Committee.
Yeah, everybody's.
Everyone is.
attended.
Please.
We do know that.
Thank you. Executive Committee, we have one tomorrow. That's our next Executive Committee. So I don't have anything to report.
Mrs. Suba, we received, thank you, Ms. Testa, we received agendas today, and on there I noticed it said executive session. I don't think you can do that in committee,
You're right?
and on top of that, if you go into executive session, it needs to say on the agenda the
The
reason
purpose,
for.
correct.
So an agenda needs to be revised and resubmitted tomorrow, which will not give you the 24 hours necessary to post a meeting.
I believe Mrs. Testa addressed that, is that correct?
No, we did post it. It was posted.
It was posted with executive session on there, and
As
that's
it was?
illegal.
Yeah.
It was posted, it already been posted.
Okay, all right.
So
So
you're
then-
going to have to repost, so you probably won't be able to meet
A
tomorrow night.
subcommittee can hold an executive session. You are correct in that the executive session
Has to explain.
should have some language that says why there's an executive
The
session.
purpose. You are
I'm not quite
correct.
sure why a subcommittee which can't do anything would go into executive session.
And
Because it should be.
There are some topics that you don't want to discuss in an open public meeting.
But that should be for the full board to be at, not just a subcommittee.
Well, and there are only 6 reasons you can go into executive session. It can't just be for something you don't want to talk about. Dr. Sewell, you know this, I'm not,
Yeah, no, I-
I'm lecturing to the
Well,
choir
we
here.
can talk
but-
later about why why it's
Right.
there, but.
But you are correct. I did, I got your email as I got in here, so I looked it up,
I was
and
just
you're
trying to
correct.
avoid posting issues, that way you could
Absolutely.
have the meeting tomorrow night. I wanted to try and get ahead of it, that way you could have it. Yeah, there's just, I think you have to have a quorum for a public, for an executive session as well. And a committee, which only requires 3 members of the board to attend, would not constitute a quorum.
If I may, Madam
You are
Chair,
correct.
we have our attorney with us from Goodman and Shipman, Mr. Anthony Shannon? I don't know if he has an answer to that question, Mr.
Well, he
Shannon?
didn't write the book, though.
Oh. Well, he's a protege. He's a protege. Actually, Mr. Mooney was his professor at UConn.
Microphone, please.
Do you want
Come to the microphone.
Come to
please.
the mic?
Thank you.
So the question is,
Easy to
can they
tell.
have an executive session in committee meetings?
Yes, you can have an executive session in committee. One example of that would be Student Expulsion Committee has an executive session for a confidential student matter. So yes, committees can have executive sessions, but it needs to be for the one of the 6 reasons specified in the statute.
Do you
And
need to
that's
have a
on-
board quorum? I'm sorry, Mrs. Lewin, I didn't mean to speak over you.
A board, well, it depends. I think it depends on what the committee's meeting for. For example, my first example, the Student Expulsion Committee just needs 3 members.
Right.
But you would still motion to go into executive session for that. If it's outside of that, that's more of a particular statute. I don't think you need a quorum, but I have to check that.
We have a hearing officer for our expulsion hearings, so we don't meet on that.
Okay.
So that
Okay.
would kind of negate that one. Or do you need to
But
have-
residency hearings, you would have a committee, anywhere where you have a committee of the board, you may still have an executive session purpose. It just has to meet one of those requirements.
It has to
So
be
if you-
explained.
And it has to be explained, that's second. But so if it's a personnel issue, personnel, confidential legal matter, pending litigation, I'm trying to think of all the 6 of them right now, but if you have a committee that's handling one of those matters, you could still have an executive session, but it should be explained on the agenda, as you stated, so.
Thank you.
Correct.
Thank you.
Again, I just want to bring, but none of the subcommittees have the authority to vote on anything.
No,
Not voting.
no.
No.
So it seems awful strange that you'd go into executive session with a subcommittee, and then you would have to bring it forward to the full board and go into executive committee. So why not just do it with the full board to begin with?
That's a good question. But I don't know whether or not, for example, this board has a personnel committee.
No.
But if it did, you may have a sensitive personnel issue about a person, a teacher, custodian, that needs to be discussed by the committee and reviewed with that committee. Then when it's brought to the full board for consideration of action, that would also be an executive session. That's just one example of why you'd have the committee handle it in the first instance, and then if it requires full board action, it would be brought to the board. So I don't know what particular committee this is.
We're
Policy?
talking about
The executive committee.
Oh, okay. And what's the purpose of that committee?
The
Just
executive committee?
Yeah, is that just the chair or the?
Correct.
Okay. So yeah, you'd have to specify on the agenda what the purpose of
The purpose.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So thank you for clarifying.
No problem, no problem.
Thank you.
Well, there goes our,
Yeah, that's fine.
you just chitted up some more on our bill.
I guess Tom Mooney trained him very well, huh?
Yep.
Yeah.
Good job.
Good job.
All right.
Any other questions regarding executive session? Thank you. I have several items on action items. There's a second reading of Windham Public Schools calendar. Anything you would like to add, Dr. Garcia?
I'm looking at my calendar here. So the calendar was brought to the last board meeting as an information.
Okay.
And we have not made any changes to the calendar. Last board meeting, we provided you with a list of members of the committee that included principals, teachers, administrators. And the calendar is following the regional calendar for next year. So we don't have much room to come up with major decision here because the calendar next year will be a regional calendar. So we're following the EastCon calendar. One of the major changes for us, however, next year would be Election Day. We usually are open during Election Day, but with the new legislation, we're required to have a PD on Election Day next year. So you will see that an Election Day next year, November 8th, is a PD day for us.
Okay. So that's the only change.
Next year, there's no Three Kings Day?
Yes, Three Kings Day, is that on the calendar?
It's not on the calendar.
Let me see if it's not on the calendar.
It's on the side of under important dates, but I don't think there's a label for, no, there
There's
is,
January.
there's a
Yes,
label.
yes, there is. Is there Three
I was
Kings
looking
there?
at February, no, yeah,
It's on a
there.
Friday.
It's on
Oh, okay.
Friday.
It's there.
Thank you.
It does say no school.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
I'm
6th.
not used to this coding. It looks different than how we've looked at it before.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So you're looking for a vote today?
Yeah.
Okay. So I need a motion.
Second?
Mr. Flores, second.
Who moved?
All those in favor?
Who made the motion?
Who made the
I did.
motion?
I did.
He
No, he
seconded.
No,
seconded
he
it.
said
Who
he
made the
seconded.
motion?
Did somebody make the motion?
I said I need a motion.
Right.
So moved.
I make the motion.
Thank you.
Or one of us.
Thank you, Mr. French. So Mr. French made a motion,
I
Mr.
second it.
Flores second, and we all approve.
Okay.
Thank you. And next on is the approval for Windham High School field trip
Field trip,
to...
this is a field trip that they have done before. They go to, I think it's New York, the Windham Mansion. So they're leaving, they plan to leave on April 11th and return on April the 12th. It's a social studies, Department of Social Studies field trip. And you have 4 chaperones that will be attending.
I say two.
They have 2, but they do have 2 others that will be signing up there. They have another teacher and administrator that will be attending.
And I just have a question, Dr.
Wait,
Garcia.
Let's get a motion on the floor
Oh.
before we get into discussion.
Motion approved.
Thank
Move the
you.
motion. Present the motion
Okay?
to approve it.
Who
Motion to approve
motioned?
it.
Mr. Kalajian made the motion, Mr. Montalvo seconded.
Okay, now to
Okay, now you can talk
discussion.
about it.
Okay, now.
Now, I do have a question. It says the cost per student. Is that the responsibility of the student to pay?
I'm pretty sure that the students are the one that are paying this.
Okay.
I could further inquire about it, but I am pretty sure the students are paying for this.
Okay. So it's between 40 and 48 students?
Students, yeah.
Okay. And one bus?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Any other questions?
I don't have a question, I'm just gonna, I have just a comment, I guess. Just about the field trip in general, not a bad thing. I'm a big fan of field trips such as this, where like, I mean, I really like history, so I guess that's just me coming out. I've never been to the FDR Presidential Library, but I've been to the JFK one in Boston, and it's a wonderful experience. I'm sure the building's very nice in Boston. It's a beautiful building. It just goes through, specifically, like I said, I only been to the JFK one. It goes through, his life through campaigning and what he's done as president and so on. And so I'm assuming the FDR one's going to be similar. It's a really good experience to have. I like, even if it may not be straight interactive, like with a tablet and the technology, I really like interactive type, especially with history, where you can just get lost in a book and you can actually have interaction with things like, even a statue of like FDR's little dog, or like see historical facts. It really has the ability to get students who otherwise may not be, diving into these things, see it as boring, can really get them interested with just seeing an item that has so much historical background. So I'm a fan of this one, and I just wanted to say that, I guess.
And I just want to add that they go into a very beautiful place. Poughkeepsie is a very beautiful town. Very beautiful.
Thank you, Mr. Comey. Ready to vote? All those in favor? Unanimously approved. Thank you. Next on the agenda is recommended approval for personnel recommendations. I need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Kwame. Any questions?
I just wanted to say that I'm sad that, I knew it was coming, but I'm sad to see Ms. Packer retiring. She's left for the evening, but as of November 2nd, she is part of the retirement list, and I know that she has long been looking forward to her retirement, but I think that it'll be a loss to the district.
Thank you, Mrs. Lambert. Ready to vote? All those in favor? Thank you. Unanimously approved. And I need a motion. Oh, I'm sorry. Board comments.
Oh, may I? You always look to me because you know I always have it.
Yep.
On February 26th, from 6 to 8 p.m. in the WHS cafeteria, I'm sure Ms. Markey, if she doesn't already have it on the Facebook page, we'll have it soon. The band is having a fundraiser, a pasta dinner for their trip to Philadelphia. Adult tickets are $8 and students are $5, and takeout will be available, and our wonderful, spectacular jazz band will be playing. I'd like to congratulate the Windham Boys Indoor Track for their second-year champions of the ECC Small. They, again, like I just said, repeated their win, so they are maintaining their title. As I commented earlier, that I am looking forward to having another language added to the high school in the not-too-distant future. It'll probably be too late for Andrew's class, but in the not-too-distant future, having another language added to the high school. And I was not able to attend, but I've seen video and heard lots about the dedication of the garden at the middle school to Miss Elizabeth Espedia, who I worked with when I was the chair of the middle school PTO, and was a huge asset to our district. She is fighting cancer at this very moment, and she's having a tough time of it, and I can't think of anyone more deserving of that honor than Elizabeth. So I'd like to thank everyone who put all that effort into making that happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Lambert.
Yes, I want to add to that, it was a beautiful presentation. The faculty, the staff, the students, they were fantastic. It was an honor for me to be there. That's the same with Mr. Murphy that was there.
The two retired board members were able to attend.
I unfortunately couldn't attend, but I did send a note to Mrs. Carey to share, because I too knew Mrs. Espedia and her family, and you're absolutely right. She's a beautiful person. I've met her when my children started in the middle school, and she's a person that all the kids can go to. She started the garden, and she's just a beautiful person, and I wish her all the best. Yes.
Just want to mention that today I have coffee with the superintendent at North Windham, and it was attended by several parents from North Windham and from Barrows, and very good conversation, and one of the biggest topic of the conversation was the fundraiser. And so we addressed the fundraiser, and we have developed a Q&A that we'll put on the web today. We'll put in place on the web already, Carrie?
Get on today, tomorrow.
Tomorrow, to answer the question regarding fundraiser from the parents. And so I guess they left with their answers, not that they cannot conduct the fundraiser, but there are some regulations that we need to follow that we never followed in the past, and we all are guilty of that, but it was brought to our attention that we need to follow those policies. If not, it can have some implication for funding in food services. So one of that, Mr. Collagen, that attended the high school SGC meeting last week. I attended the first part of the meeting, but I had to leave to go to the the planning and design was that week. Every week we have a meeting, so we'll attend it. And I want to thank Mr. Montalvo and Mr. Dr. Sewell that attended Mr. Speedier, the event, well attended, and you did not attend, but your board members were well represented there. So it was a very nice
It was beautiful.
Any other comments?
As I mentioned earlier, I've been making an attempt to visit every school governance council meeting as they've been coming up. I have another one coming up at Natchog, which was canceled, luckily, the 8th, unfortunately. It's coming up in March. And all the members have, I think, generally been very interested in having a board member come, even though I'm there specifically for SP&D. The high school's conversation was spirited. It was very positive, though, I must say.
Thank you.
And you attended the meeting at Barrows? So
Yes.
Thank you for going.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Collagen. Next on the agenda is the proposed for executive session, discussion on exempt document pertaining to personnel matters.
So moved.
Thank you.
we have a 5-minute